There are places in America where the silence of the woods hides something unnatural, where every rustle in the leaves feels like a warning, something ancient watching from beyond the tree line. Tonight, the uploader brings forward the chilling experience of a man living deep in rural Kentucky, whose peaceful home became a battleground for survival against something that cannot easily be explained or confronted. This is his story. For a while, everything had gone quiet. After a series of strange occurrences around his property, the narrator had set up trail cameras, motion sensors, and security lights, hoping to reclaim the calm he once knew. And for a brief moment, it worked. The nights were quiet again. The woods stood still. Until last Saturday. It began with a sound, a loud crash on the tin roof, followed by the echo of something heavy tumbling off into the yard. When morning came, the narrator found the source, a moss-covered rock, nearly the size of a model car, damp as though it had been pulled straight from the creek. The strangest part? None of the security lights had gone off. Whatever or whoever had thrown it had done so without triggering a single motion sensor. Something was lurking close, and it knew how to stay unseen. The following night was calm, almost too calm, but Monday brought a new level of terror. The narrator ventured into the woods, determined to find clues, but instead of footprints or evidence of trespassers, he stumbled upon something horrific, the carcass of a wolf. Its body was broken in impossible ways. Both hind legs snapped and twisted like shoelaces tied wrong, its skull shattered, brain matter visible under the morning light. There were no tracks around it, no sign of an animal attack, just brutal, unexplainable force. A wave of dread washed over him. Something about the scene didn't feel natural. He turned and left immediately. That night, he sat outside again, gun in hand, eyes on the tree line. Hours passed in silence. Then suddenly, a motion light flicked on near the edge of the woods. When he aimed his flashlight, nothing was there. The next 2 days passed without incident, but Wednesday night would be the turning point. It began with snapping branches from the left side of the property. The feeling of being watched grew stronger, an unseen presence closing in. He raised his weapon, flashlight shaking in his hand. When the beam cut through the darkness, it landed on 2 glowing eyes, 8 feet off the ground. Something massive was staring back at him. He shouted a warning, but what answered was not human. A low, guttural growl echoed across the property, deep and resonant, filled with hatred. The sound was enough to paralyze him. Every instinct screamed that the gun in his hand would be useless. And then it turned away, slowly. The bushes rustled as whatever it was retreated into the woods, leaving only silence and dread in its wake. The narrator didn't follow. Something deep within him told him not to. He locked himself inside and stayed awake all night as motion lights across the property flickered on and off, as though the creature was circling his home. Thursday and Friday passed quietly, except for a strange vocalization one night, distant but unnerving. But Saturday was when everything came to a head. That night, the narrator sat on his porch as the sun fell behind the hills, scanning the tree line with the weight of exhaustion pressing on him. For hours, nothing happened. The woods were eerily silent. Then, movement, leaves rustling, branches snapping. He stood, weapon ready, heart pounding in his chest. But before he could react, rocks began to rain down on him and his home, Small stones, then larger ones, crashing against the roof, the porch, the ground. Some struck him, nearly knocking him down. It was as if the woods themselves were attacking. He fired a warning shot. For a moment, the barrage stopped, and then came a scream, a blood-curdling, inhuman howl that froze him in place. Something big was moving fast through the forest, snapping trees as it retreated. The night went quiet again, except for his trembling breath. He waited outside for hours afterward, terrified but unwilling to run. Nothing else happened. Now, days later, the narrator remains shaken, exhausted, and uncertain. Whatever was out there, it wasn't human, but it also wasn't any animal he knew. And since then, the woods around his property have never felt the same. So, what exactly did the narrator encounter in those dark woods of Kentucky? Could it have been a cryptid, like the infamous Dogman or Bigfoot, creatures often described as massive, upright beings with glowing eyes and an unnatural strength? Or was it something entirely different, something not of this world? The brutality of the wolf carcass, the silence of the sensors, the glowing eyes, and that unearthly scream, all of it paints a picture of something intelligent, powerful, and deeply territorial. Whatever it was, it wanted to be known, and it wanted him afraid. If you've ever experienced anything like this, strange noises, glowing eyes, or unexplainable attacks on your property, the uploader encourages you to share your own story in the comments below. Who knows, maybe your experience could help uncover what's haunting the remote woods of Kentucky. And if you enjoy diving into true chilling encounters like this one, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because on Unseen Experiences, every story brings us closer to the truth. And sometimes the truth is far darker than we could ever imagine.